Welcome back to WCS Spring, guys. Have you had your fill of crazy games yet? I hope not, because Haas versus SortOf is soon to follow here. I'm Maynard, with me is Todd. Todd, ça va?
Ça va très bien. I'm hyped for this one. It's going to be Haas. I know Kailash is going to be a little bit sad not to be casting this one.
Yeah.
Because I know he's a big fan with this guy right there, has all of his crazy games. But yeah, Haas has gone through a couple of phases, you know, like he had the shaved head for a little bit, you know, like he told me he went to India on a soul-searching trip and he became a monk for a couple of months. He didn't speak a single word, just focused on StarCraft. No, I'm just totally making this up. But anyway.
He balanced warp prisms in both hands, each one of them 2 immortals within.
You realize he was playing too much macro and now he's back with the pure cheeses. I feel like, honestly, Haas, for somebody who cheeses as much as he does, he's definitely reinvented himself many times in that he always innovates with his build orders and he's kind of ahead of the cheesing meta in a way. And that's what brought him success in the past, you know, including he made it to a finals of a WCS circuit event in the past.
The most unexpected finalist.
Yeah. I mean, except for Autosis, but I mean, if you would listen to him, like, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, he wasn't wrong, and nothing is more frustrating than a correct Autosis. All right, guys, we are in game and we're ready to go. SortOf versus Haas. And the far left spawn here of Automaton, it is Sweden, SortOf. And on the far right, from Taiwan, this is Mr. Haas, Valencia Grand Finalist. And he didn't just go down 4-0 either. He drew blood from the Night King himself.
Absolutely, yeah. But in this one, it's going to be the battle of aggression and cheeses from Haas against the mechanics himself.
Mr. Mechanics, that's right, Slick Rick.
Personally, I
think his shirt could be tighter. Personally, like I would like to see maybe a smaller shirt for SortOf next event, but hopefully his team can work on that for summer.
It's hard to recognize SortOf.
Yeah, he looks amazing. Actually, he's been doing a lot in the gym, looking after himself. Very, very commendable. Gas immediately here by Haas, by the way, which is pretty interesting. Before the gateway.
Yeah, I mean, from Haas, like it's not even really that surprising. You know, he's like
not really.
If he wasn't taking the gas, he was probably going to be for Forge anyway. So he loves to be aggressive, whether it's with a Stargate, like trying to predict what this guy is going to do. A lot of the time, it's going to be completely impossible. You just know that he's going to attack no matter what. And he was one of the first guys to, in my opinion, use extremely well the Mass Oracle style, which was not only against Zerg, but in multiple different matchups. And it's just always the question of, imagine us. As commentators, we see the entire map, we see what his opponent's doing. We can't even recognize what Haas is doing. Imagine playing against him. There is almost no way you can know what's coming up. So the best thing you can do is just scout a lot. And I think in particular here, for somebody as good as SortOf mechanically, just try and figure out what he's doing. And if you can do that, I think he's going to be good enough to, you know, to take it to the mid game and find some success there.
Certainly, like if SortOf manages to get to the mid to late game here without taking too much damage from Haas, then I would absolutely favor him to monster mode his way into a victory. But it's really about the early to mid game for me. Like, what does Haas have to try and cripple his opponent so he doesn't get there safely? And at the moment, it is a quick Twilight Council here from Haas. So his probe gets eaten alive by those lings. Unfortunately, doesn't keep it alive. And SortOf actually, he hasn't started speed just yet. He just started it now. There we go. So it is going to be what looks to be Prism Archon, maybe? Like, you see the Robo being made here with the Twilight Council. Now, there are some different builds. I'm seeing that Haas is actually starting a Zealot as well, by the way. And this might potentially be the a popular build that's sort of hitting the ladder a little bit in PvZ with a lot of charge lots and a couple of mortals. But we will see. Let's keep an eye on it.
I think Dark Shrine is likely because of how much gas is mining.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this is Haas. Like,
well, this is going to be scouted.
Here's the thing, though. Imagine if from there, Haas was to stop mining gas here after he has enough to make the 2 Archons that he wants to get first, and then he made a bunch of gateways and mass charge lots. It will be so hard to hold on against this kind of thing if you don't see it coming, and there's not going to be a follow-up scout for a long time. So that's the strength of Haas. Even if you scout what he's doing, he knows how to make the right adjustments. He gets into your head. He's like always kind of like one step ahead with all of these things that he can do next.
Very mind gaming. This is a nice overlord for SortOf as well, by the way. Like, he can keep an eye on the gases in the natural for now. Obviously, the scout of the main was pretty amazing. He knows it's Archon drop. He's getting a Roach Warren. It's going to be a great unit composition to have to be able to deal with the Archons toe-to-toe. And Spore Crawler is usually pretty important as well. But you can actually skip the Spore Crawlers, because once the lair is done, you can get an Overseer up, and that basically does the same thing. The other benefit of getting Spore Crawlers, of course, means that the Prism can't really deep dive too far. So a lot of Zergs generally will get them, but SortOf cutting that corner at the moment by the looks of things.
Yeah, his first few Roaches are starting right now. I hope it's not too late here. He's going to need to make quite a few of them.
Oh, he has time. It still needs to be...
His supply blocks?
Still needs to walk in.
His supply blocks for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit there on 50.
If it's just DTs going straight for his base, SortOf has nothing right now except a couple Zerglings.
Yeah, he knows it's DT. He scouted this.
Oh my god, he doesn't have an Overseer ready. What is going on? SortOf!
He has an Overseer somewhere. He's got to come up here and help him out. He does not want to lose this main hatchery. That's actually got a while to get up here. I think Haas is going to get it. Oh no. No. Wow, okay, well, that's obviously amazing for Haas. SortOf is crippled beyond belief here, losing that main base.
That's insane. He went for like the one weak spot of SortOf. I think the Overseer must have been morphed maybe around the third base or the natural. So it took some time to get there. There wasn't a Spore. And now SortOf's economy has been crippled.
Yeah, I mean, I like what SortOf's trying to do here, getting some Roaches across the map, put them up into an Overlord and see what you can do. Or is that Lings actually? Yeah, Lings, much quicker to get across the map there. Going to go and try and drop on Haas's main. You know, Haas isn't thinking about a main base drop right now, I can guarantee you that. So this DT drop here is now Archons, and they're looking to do the pretty regular follow-up. An Observer is here as well, so he can get rid of some creep tumors on his way through.
And he's going to send 2 Adepts into the natural. That's very well timed. Like, he takes the attention away, just like a magician, from SortOf inside of the main base and sends the Adept into the third base. They're going to have one volley, a lot of these drones here. SortOf, he's not moving those away. He's just trying to defend with the Queens. Ooh, actually has microing a little bit. He could have had some more drones, I think.
Yeah, not great target fires there.
Oh, in the main base?
In the mineral line. Haas very late to respond.
But the hatchery on the other side is being sieged again, and he's going to get that. He recalls... Oh, wait,
Haas has lost a dozen probes, dude. He didn't respond at all to this Ling drop. He lost 12 probes just now. Like, SortOf's economy got hit hard, yes. But it's actually not that bad anymore now, but this damage we did with these Lings.
If that hadn't happened...
Haas did not react at all.
SortOf would be so far behind if this didn't happen. So him killing that definitely gained some momentum from that. And has actually butchered the recall. He missed the Dark Templars. That was really weird. That Overlord is going to pay for this.
Yeah, it pays with its life, but I think that it's happy to give its life for the Swarm for this particular regard here. Haas knows that the main hatchery is still being remade. Has the lair been remade? It has, okay, so it's down here at the third base, natural rather.
And now, I mean, from this kind of game with the Dark Templars that he killed, it's almost tempting to go for Roaches and then go for an attack, but you can expect Haas to have a bunch of sentries and to be working on his Immortal count. He's already got 2 with the third one about to come out. I mean, we can easily put 2+2 here. He's going to attack here eventually with a lot of forces. Charge on the way as well. Even if he starts the third Nexus, I think it doesn't even matter. He's still going to attack most likely here. In a moment, +1 attack is already completed, which is great for him.
Yeah, Haas is still mining gas, but just looks to be for Dark Templar and potentially Archons as well. And with the Prism and the Immortals, we're going to be seeing some charge lots getting thrown in the mix here so that Haas can take a straight-up fight, toe-to-toe here against the Zerg. Actually, with his army's positioning it, if he's moving across the map, okay, yeah. So he's going across the map right now. SortOf has got some Roaches for a counter-attack.
Haas is crazy. Like, he just saw the entire army of SortOf, which looks very scary. He's like, you know what? I can take this. He doesn't start a third Nexus. He just moves across the map with all of his army. And he's actually going to try to fight against this.
Well, we got a Roach drop here from SortOf in the natural as well. So Haas is going to want to do damage and probably end this game with this push here. So those Roaches are tough to deal with.
I don't know. SortOf has a lot here.
He does, but...
5 Ravagers.
It's amazing. It's amazing what a Warp Prism, 4 Archons, and 3 Immortals can do. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, it does. The numbers are absolutely on SortOf's side.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nice force fields from Haas, by the way. Cutting off a bunch of the army supply there at SortOf.
And Haas a little bit hesitant. He knows he can get too quickly in there. SortOf kiting very nicely, breaking those force fields as soon as he can every single time. He's waiting for SortOf to make a mistake here, to overextend, to attack into him. But SortOf is not making that mistake so far.
Haas loses another handful of probes back in that natural there to the harassment of SortOf, but the main focus is, of course, this battle here at the front lines. And those Archons taking a fair bit of damage. That one on the top there is very low, and it actually dies. A bit of miss micro there from Haas.
And has very patient. So he's SortOf. Every time he engages like this, he pulls back.
All the biles.
When the force fields start going down, corrosive bile land big time. On the other side of the map, a single roach is going on a rampage in that middle line.
Once again, Haas just not really responding, or at least he did respond and didn't stop looking at it. He's lost most of his probes back at home. He's got 32 still. They must all be in the main base.
And look at this supply, almost double right now for SortOf.
It's looking pretty good. Dark Templar on the main base, still no Spore, but there is an Overseer here with those roaches, so it's days are numbered.
He's going to go for the chase. He's had enough. He knows there's not many force fields left over. Even going to bite himself. Who cares?
I don't care. I don't feel pain. Only victory.
And has only down to a few immortals here. He can pick up only 2 of those. There's going to be a black sheep that's going to be left behind and die here.
And Dark Templar getting chased down here by the remnants of the defenses there for SortOf. Bit of an immortal juggle here from Haas. Jude Micro, but probably all for naught at this point, as SortOf has got a monstrous lead right now. In fact, gets one of those immortals as Haas isn't looking for a second. And that Dark Templar is toast. Spy goes down for SortOf just in case. He could actually do a very, very sick follow-up, which Haas does not have an answer for if Munos hit the field.
He won't need that.
Yeah.
Haas just down to 5 sentries, 1 single immortal. He's got those in the prism that he could send back as well. But somehow he's still choosing to send them across the map. He's ball, I'll give him that.
He is ball. He is made out of balls, Haas. He's just like, he's got them for days. Zero fear. Well, losing those gateways on the Cyber Core, pretty devastating here for Haas. He can make Zealots, he does have charge, of course. But the Zealots are actually walked into the front lines, which means they're not going to be here defensively. The Biles connecting with the sentries as well, doing a lot of damage. Plenty of force fields here for Haas. But there are a lot of Biles here for SortOf to break those force fields if it need be, if he wants to commit to a fight, which I think he does here.
He has like 1 or 2 force field left, so he SortOf just goes for it now. I think he just wins. Shield batteries shouldn't be enough, I think, for him to be able to hold on. But he's threatening across the map, and SortOf, I guess, wants to play it safe. He knows he's on 3 bases against 2. There's no rush. You know, obviously you run out of minerals here pretty soon as well, having been stuck on 2 bases for this.
He doesn't want to throw. I respect that.
You gotta play it safe sometimes, you know.
Sometimes. Probably kicking himself for not getting Spore Crawlers at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, that definitely made his life so difficult.
This DT is also getting tons of damage. 7, 8 drone kills, 9. Where that Overseer at? Here she comes. All right. Finally gets rid of that Dark Templar. 10 drones do go down. Both players with relatively similar economies, but the Mutas are out, and that is a unit that's tough for Haas to deal with. They're actually going across the map to do more probe damage, but Haas is already pretty all in here.
And he already mines so much of the minerals, and he still starts 2 more gates. Has no intention of starting a 3rd, I think. And he's just going to go all in, maybe warp in some Stalkers on the other side of the map and try and end this. Some Stalkers actually could defend that natural base with the shield batteries.
There's so many Ravages. Nice force fields again from Haas, but he eats so many Biles, he loses a lot of units there for those force fields. Probably not worth. Still 60 more army supply here for the Zerg. Steps on forward against that. Does Bile down that Prism, which means there is no more juggling and there is no more Haas for game number 1. GG. SortOf gets the W. That was a scrappy one. Yeah. That was dirty.
That was way scrappier than SortOf would have liked it to be, but he does get the win here eventually, and yeah, that was very nicely done actually.
Eats a victory peanut.
That's is that what it is?
Never tastes better than when you win a game of StarCraft.
Yeah. Well, and that link drop really what saved him. Without that, he would have been really far behind, I think, with losing that main hatchery twice. Has going through the build order here a little bit. When did he get that Overlord ready to drop? That's a great way to do it. You know, like once upon a time, you only needed an Evo Chamber to get these drop-a-lots, but now you need Lair. Now, SortOf knew he was going to face Dark Templar, so he teched very fast to Lair to be able to get Overseer. Still kind of got it late, but then after that, he was like, well, I already got Lair. I might as well go for a drop inside of your main base to try and do some counter damage, because you'll be busy on my side of the map, trying to do your own damage, killed a bunch of probes, and then after that, he was in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I think the Overlord drop was pretty genius there from SortOf. But also, I don't really want to criticize Haas, but his like reaction to that link drop, it seemed like he wasn't paying attention at all, or focusing a little bit too hard on the other side of the map with his DT control, because there was 0 probe pull reaction, and if the Lings are just left alone with no unit to take their threat, then the Lings will carve through a probe line so quickly, even without upgrades.
Well, you need to be on point with that, but it's very hard.
Yeah. Oh,
you know how many times I looked inside my main base and there was 0 probes? Because like Baning drop had killed everything. Many times.
Yeah, it happens.
It's very, very tough. You need to have an eagle eye, see everything.
That's right. Mini-map awareness, all that sort of good stuff. Well, SortOf currently 1 up in the series. It wasn't clean. It was a bit of a mud wrestle. Let's see if game number 2 looks a little bit different. Something tells me probably not, because Haas likes to bring things down to his level, or up to his level, however you want to look at it. All right, going to be Port Alexander, boats, etc. Get them ready. And we are going into game number 2, guys. We'll see if SortOf can close this out in the 2-0, if Haas can start to fight back here against the Swedish Zerg. You're watching WCS Spring. It's been a pretty sick tournament so far with some pretty memorable games. And only promises to get better if we get into the deeper end, where the better players tend to shine. In the bottom right here, it is SortOf. And his opponent in the top left, Valencia finalist. This is Taiwan's Haas.
I feel like it took us some time, but nowadays a lot more people appreciate Haas, right? Ever since he had that big run and took 2nd place at the one WCS circuit events, people have started appreciating him a lot more. You know, once upon a time, he was just kind of, you know, the cheeser, right? And I'm glad actually that we did, because, you know, to each their own style. And it's definitely one aspect of playing Protoss that's very important, to be able to play as aggressive as he does. But in this case, he's opening with the Nexus first, so pretty greedy.
Yeah, quite greedy here. SortOf also, to bring up, there's no block or anything on the Nexus. He just instantly, on the hatchery rather, just instantly took his 3rd base location as his natural. So, just expecting, I guess, you know, aggressive pylons or early probes from Haas. And it never really happened. This is Overlords confirming. A little bit interesting here. Well, and we haven't, yeah, a very, very greedy opening from Haas. And that's actually, it's brought up a few times where players like Haas, one of the strongest things they can do is actually just try and throw in a macro game every now and then.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
get extra greedy like he's doing right now, and you will get away with it, because SortOf is over-preparing for Haas to start things off with.
And I think Protoss versus Zerg should be one of Haas' best matchups, because there's a lot in the Taiwan region. He faced quite a few Zergs actually on his way to qualify for this tournament. Started with Winter in round 1, then he faced Stork, Rex, and then Rex again, and he defeated them all. So he's supposed to be on point with his Protoss versus Zerg. We've seen him against some of Europe's finest in the past really hold his own, and he's going to need no less here against Mr. Mechanics himself, SortOf.
I'm wondering what Haas is going for this game. Now, SortOf does have a few big roach roll-ins that I've seen him do before. Certainly popular.
He went for the 2nd gate inside of the main base here, so
okay,
he's definitely up to something.
A couple early gateway units.
Maybe some adepts, some stalkers. He's getting the Stargate as well.
It's pretty old school actually for like back in the day, like early Legacy of the Void, and I'm talking like circa like Abyssal Reef era. There was Nexus first builds into Stargate with a Stalker opening, because you push away the Overlords and then you would actually go on a Void Ray after this. It was like a very, very old school style to play.
But like getting the 2nd gate like this is definitely very uncommon. Like nobody really does it. Like if they get a 2nd gate, it's to wall off their natural, right? So that nothing gets in, but like nobody really uses it early on. But so far he's opened exactly like he did the last game. In terms of getting a Stalker and then getting one single building, which last game was the Twilight first. So he's relying on SortOf thinking it's the exact same scenario where there is only one gate, but having that 2nd gateway means that he now made double Adept that he's going to send across the map that he's hoping SortOf's not going to be ready for, because if SortOf thinks this is the same thing as last game and he missed the 2nd gateway, how could SortOf be ready for these Adepts going across the map?
He's getting his Spore Crawlers, but of course,
he only has 4
don't
links.
stop Adepts.
Yeah, he only has 4 links, and I don't know that they will be in position. They're up at the ramp towards the main base right now with 1 Queen there.
Yeah, this could be a lot of drone damage here. The Adepts shade forward, and obviously SortOf, he sees it now, so more links are in production. The Adepts taking a little while to actually get towards the drone line. In fact, that decision from Haas to shade this far is giving SortOf a lot of time. If he just attacked into the 3rd base, I feel like it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, but he didn't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
He probably didn't expect the hatchery to be where it was.
Yeah.
Or all the drones to be there. Proxy pylon from Haas as well. He's going to start putting on the source soon, getting aggressive on this side of the map.
But then again, he forced a lot of links. Walker-wise, he's doing okay. 40 to 41, you know, it's very standard at this point in the game. And he has triple gateway, so he's massing Adept right now. 4 gates now even. So he's just going to get a ton of Adepts, I think. Look, he's getting a Robo. and he never made Twilight, so I don't think there's going to be glaives. If he wants to go for an attack with a lot of adepts, it's just going to be a prism being made now. Oh my god, the links!
Oh, what a run by here from SortOf. Got an adept walk in back in here in the natural for Haas, and yes, they will kill these Lings eventually, but they're just going to be running circles here. Haas needs to go with this attacking army. It looks like his attention split pretty hard here, losing one adept there to those Lings. These adepts, not really any service area, they're not tucked into a mineral line, they're sort of out in the open, so they do get surrounded, but the Ling count is getting low enough where they're manageable now for these adepts. And here's the attack from Haas. He shades towards the third base, but not in range of the drones. SortOf pulls those Lings back, gets the Queens on the front line, and these Oracles are left a little bit open to find damage in the main potentially, or even marry up with the Adepts and just do tons of damage output altogether.
Yeah, the Adepts not sure where to go right now. They're going to head towards the main base. They can shade elsewhere. Oracle's going to fly and deal with that one Queen. And he's trying to fight where there is no spores. Actually, that one in the main base was attacking for a while. He needs to fly away now. Drones not mining in the main base for SortOf. What is going on?
What's going on is a lot of damage here at the third base. Oh, the Oracle does die there for Haas. Drone's actually tucked onto the hatchery at the moment for a SortOf. And be feeling a little bit frazzled right now as more Adepts shading to that natural. On the natural location, I guess. This is actually his third hatchery.
And in the meantime, Haas has started Immortal production. He's got one, the Oracle! Oh my god.
Oh man. This game's starting to slip out of Haas's hands here. He is getting a bunch more gateways. He's starting an Immortal. This is another game where I don't think we're going to see a third Nexus.
Yeah. He started 5 more gates. That's 9.
Yeah.
9 gates on 2 bases. So I think he's just going to get a second Immortal, get a Prism, go across the map, not produce from the Robo anymore. That's why he went up to 9 gates. Just make a ton of Adepts and try and end it.
Yeah. Well, he's got the power to it. And SortOf's doing the right thing. He's just amassing roaches, just making units right now. That's all he needs to do. Oh, there is a third Nexus. He drops 9 gateways and then gets a third?
It's a fake, Maynard.
All right.
I mean, to be honest, he made a decent amount of probes. He's up to 50.
Yeah, I mean, that's not...
But when you go to 9 gates, usually...
he did stop probing.
It's not to drop down double forts behind it in the Twilight Council a lot of the time.
A bit of bamboozling there from Haas, the mind games. SortOf is still not taking the bait, though. He's holding that R button. Nothing but roaches on the way here for the Swedish Zerg. Another drop in the main buy with these Lings, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't spot the move out, but he's still just massing units. Like, he knows there's an attack coming. Like, SortOf, he's not going to get tricked in this one. He knows who he's playing against, so he's getting completely ready. Now Haas going to step on creep. SortOf fully knows where he is. He's already got a lot of roaches. Starts a bunch of spine crawlers in support. The Lings finding some damage across the map.
Yeah, getting more and more probe kills on the other side. Looks like they're finally getting cleaned up. SortOf is just massing units. He has been for a while, actually. So on paper, it looks like he's pretty prepared here.
Supply manner.
Yeah, looks in SortOf's favor. Protoss with the Prism, with the Immortals, with good control, it could happen. Haas has had some shaky control in the series so far. So if he can pull it together, maybe a miracle can happen here for Haas and he can break SortOf's defenses.
Oh, those spines are so important. They're doing that dance again, where they're both waiting for the other guy to engage, in which case that would be bad for him. Actually, SortOf goes for it this time. He wasn't faking.
He pulls the trigger. He drops those force fields with those piles and gets right on top of Haas's army. The Queen's in range of the Prism as well, starting to do damage to it. And Haas just not had... He just doesn't have enough. SortOf, a much cleaner victory there in game 2. Nicely done.
Really didn't feel pain, like you say. Just kind of went for it. And I feel like almost like Haas was looking across the map here in that moment. He wasn't ready to force field. SortOf somewhat knew it. And SortOf with some great defense and killer instinct in those games. The counter-attacks that he found with the Link drops were beautiful. Without that, those games would have been perhaps very different, but good defense here from the Swedish Zerg. Good defense, good offense. That Overlord drop strategy seemed like Haas just doesn't see it in his later games, maybe. I think he plays primarily on Korea, but... He's used to be the one to be that's attacking, right? People defend against him. SortOf was like, you know what? I can afford to send some Lings on the other side of the map, kill your probes. You're going to be busy on my side trying to harass me. And then Haas kind of fell apart from there. Yeah. Well, SortOf gets himself a victory here on stage, and that's got to feel good. There's group stage 3, obviously, so it's going to be better as we get further and further on and closer to the big money. Any more thoughts on that one? SortOf is like one of those guys that always had, I think, great potential, but he's not always had the easiest time, you know, really delivering on the biggest stage, even though he practices a lot. He has a very strong mindset, you know, he goes to Korea all the time. I feel like you have to be very strong mentally to tell yourself, I'm going to go to a completely foreign country, go there and train 24/7 on that game. And he's one of those guys that always wants to go to Korea, always wants to train there to get at the highest level possible that he can. And now this training has shown here.
That certainly pays off. Well, looks like we got Smix on stage with our winner, SortOf. Let's cross over. Smix, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations, SortOf. That was a 2-0 for you. And actually, when I looked historically, you've never had any official matches against Haas before. So coming into this, knowing the sort of reputation that he has, did that make preparation hard?
Well, I play a lot on Korea server, so I run into Haas from time to time in my practice. So I was mostly scared of the cannon rush stuff. A lot of players are playing the 2-base all-ins right now, so I get a lot of practice versus that in general. So versus him, I was especially scared of the cannon rush, which is why in the second game I went for the 3rd base before natural.
And in map 1, with that opening, it did not look so good for you, and yet you were able to pull it back. So what was your reaction when that hit, and how were you able to do that?
Well, I morphed my overseer in a pretty bad spot, so it was very far away from my main base. So after that, I thought we'll see what my wing drop does, and if that does a lot, then I still have a chance. And luckily, he wasn't really paying attention, so I got like his entire main mineral line. And after that, I think I was in a pretty good spot because he was 2-base lining and like, using it to make roaches, which is fine on 2-base. So.
Well, now you were in this group just full of Protoss. You went from Showtime to the complete opposite side of the spectrum with Haas, and now you're going up against Drogo. Now, Drogo is obviously someone that you've played a lot of times as well. Having played 2 Protoss now, do you feel a little bit comfortable going up against Drogo, or the opposite?
I feel like Drogo's style is something I'm more comfortable with than compared to Showtime or Haas. So if I'm able to play my best, I think I should be fine here.
That's awesome to hear, and that will be the decider match for this group. But for now, let's head back to Caleres and the boys.